Hi folks, welcome back to the channel. Thank you very much for joining me once again. You are always most welcome. Well, now then, welcome back, and what have we got here? Something quite impressive, just in time for Christmas. So it's the ICM Airfield of the Luftwaffe Bomber Group, and it includes loads of stuff. So it's a diorama set where they basically combined a number of kits into one, and I love it when they do this. I think it's absolutely brilliant. I'm going to put my big light on here. It's going to give us a bit of a reflection, but it does give us better light. So we have got basically a Heinkel 111. I'll show you on the side, it might make it easier. It's set number DS4805. On the side we have got, I'll give you the description first, because this is good, because it's going to amaze you. The set features a Heinkel He111 aircraft, 7 Luftwaffe ground personnel figures, a dog figure, airfield equipment and aviation bombs. Ground personnel figures boast highly detailed uniforms and equipment. The airfield equipment reproduced to scale, matching real-life counterparts. Includes various bomb types, bomb crates, a trolley for transporting and suspending the bombs beneath the aircraft. The decals provided with various marking types to the He111 The set enables creation of a diorama depicting daily life at a Luftwaffe Bomber Group airfield. There are 324 parts for the He111, 45 parts for the 7 figures, and 352 parts for the assembly of the Luftwaffe airfield equipment. So you're getting 740 parts, I think that comes to 724 parts, thereabouts. Just under 720, let's say 720 parts in that box. Now this retails for in the UK for around about £60–65 mark. You may get it slightly dearer, slightly cheaper than that, but here we go. Now look on the side. It's a real, got this in your Christmas stocking, you wouldn't be complaining, would you? Look at this. Just check out all the goodies we've got for you here. So we've got Heinkel He111 bomber in 48 scale, what's not to like? You've got your bomb jack stroke bomb rack raising, what do they call it? How do they describe it? What's the word they use? Trolley. Okay, bomb trolley. Bomb trolley here. Bomb crates here. Jerry cans. Compressed gas on a trolley. You've got oil drums. Bombs of various descriptions. You've got some of your Luftwaffe ground crew with his tools. You've got your ground crew with his dog. You have got standing idly by ground crew. You've got senior officer. Well, the most senior officer I think is this one. And you've got one that looks like a very well-to-do chap with a cane here. Look at that. So he's one of the pilots, I think. Look at that though, for a set. You've got so much stuff there. Absolutely epic. That's a proper set, isn't it? That's a real diorama set. A treat for Christmas. So as I say, if you want somebody to buy one of these for Christmas, won't set them back too much more than £60–65. Let's have a see what is actually in the box. Looking forward to this one. I don't know if I saw the He111 I can't remember now. My memory fails me. I did one of the. No, it's the Paravane I saw. I think the H3 is a little bit older, so it was probably predating my involvement with the ICM kits, to be quite honest with you. The trouble there, just getting into the tape. That tape is excellent. It doesn't want to come out. It's all the better for your model, keeping it in absolutely premium condition. It does make it a little bit tricky to open them quickly sometimes. I think my blade's dirty as well. A bit sticky from the adhesive. Previous kits I've opened, I think. There we go, we're in. So, let's have a look at what we've got. Looking forward to this. It's going to be a fun one. Now, I may not go into absolute detail of every part of it because several parts of the kit we've seen before, especially the airfield set actually, which you saw just a month or 6 weeks ago. Let's have a look at what we got. So I guess it's boxed in the box. We've got the airfield set. Oh, a lot of plastic. One bag of sprues. One bag of Heinkel sprues. A big bag. That's a huge bag. It's heavy. Bag of figures, and then all sorts of other fun. So, as I say, I won't probably go into everything. I think we won't do this set. I'll just zoom in, and I'll put you a link over here so you can see the review for this set. This is where you've got everything, including the. I've got to mention that on the box, didn't it? You've got the guard room hut. You've got the barrier, which you didn't mention, but we actually did do a review on this just a few weeks ago. So I shall put you a link to all of those things that you see there. I'm probably going to skip through that one because we have in fact seen everything there. It's got the engine hoist, also not mentioned on the box, by the way. So there's actually more than mentioned on the box, but it is all in the artwork, so that's good. That's good. So we're going to skip that because it is kind of a replication of what we've already seen. We will, however, have a look at a quick look at the figures. I'm not sure if they're all exactly the same. I don't think they are in the same poses as what we saw the other week. So we're going to look at them, and we're going to have a look at the Heinkel 111 because that I haven't personally seen before. And I think that'll be very interesting. So we shall see what we've got. What does it say here? Look at the men first, and we'll do the aircraft after. I think that'll be fair. So just as a reminder, I'm just going to turn down my lighting. Just as a reminder, here is the artwork. So everything you see on this artwork is included. So you've got all the old drums, you've got the figures, jerry cans, bums, little Labrador dog. You've got your guys with the step ladder here, more figures. You've got the toolbox, you've got ammo, bomb crates, all the big bombs as well. And you've got the engine hoist. Oh, it's actually a bomb hoist, I think, isn't it? But I think they called it an engine hoist in the instructions. And then in the background, of course, you've got the guard hut, the sort of entry point to the airfield with the barrier across. Absolutely fantastic! What a fantastic set! Brilliant. So let's have a look at the figures first. I shall move my Heinkel out of the way. I'll have a look at Heinkel in a minute. Here we are. Let's see what we have got in these guys. Let's have a little look. Let's pop it out of the bag first, and then I'll have a quick look at the old instructions. Here we go. So, yes, we've got quite a lot of figures, and we see them better on the back. So we've got like an officer, looks like he's got his orders here. A senior officer. We've got this chap with the walking cane. Looks very distinguished, doesn't he? Wow, a toff. I think he should have a monocle. Then you've got what looks like the captain of the pilot. And then you've got your ground crew. You've got your ground crew here in various poses. You've got one here looking at, it's got his hand on like he's looking at an access panel or checking a reading on the side. You've got a chap here with his screwdriver in his hand. And then over here we've got the chap that's sitting on the wheel of the aircraft, complete with his dog. I've got to say it's changed from being Labrador. It doesn't look like a Labrador now. But we shall have a look at whether it looks like a Labrador. Let's have a look at the actual sprue. So these figures are actually different to what we've seen before. And the figures were not included when we saw the airfield set. Let's have a looky. Here's Doggy. Look at that. Yes, it doesn't look like a Labrador to me. But I could be wrong. It looks more like a... I'm not a dog expert, but it looks more like a collie to me, I think. What do you reckon? Hey, it's a nice doggy there, isn't he? Look at that. That's one side. You've actually got two versions. Or did you just see it on one side? No, it's just that it's very confusing. He's only got his tail, it's a bit like an aircraft with the tail on one side only. So he's got the tail that wraps around, a little bit like an aircraft, but that side of his body that it's halved doesn't have a tail. So that the tail is there complete. You can see the other side of it there. On that side you don't have the tail, just to try and keep it simple. To avoid a join, isn't it? But it does look a bonny dog, doesn't it actually? Look at that. What do you think? Quite cool, isn't it? So that's that one, and there's the chap that's actually, he's got It's like the dog is wanting some of his dinner because he's just got a plate. He's obviously just having some lunch. And he's got the remnants of his meal and the dog's begging. And I think he's... I don't know what he's got in his hand. It almost looks like a bar of chocolate. Is it my imagination? Sorry, I've got a little bit of focus trouble here. Can you see what this hand here? It looks like almost like a bar of chocolate. Maybe it's a piece of meat. Not sure. Looks a bit too uniform to be a piece of meat, though, doesn't it? Anyway, there you go. You see the back of the plate there with his hand under the plate. It's cool, isn't it? And he's sitting slightly straddling the on the wheel of one of the aircraft. Well, it showed that in the instructions. Actually, on the artwork, he's sitting on one of the ammo boxes, bomb boxes. Doesn't matter what he's sitting on, really. There he is. There's his face here. And then we've got the guy this is the one that's twisting over at a strange angle. He's reaching up, in fact. That's why it looks a little bit odd. He's reaching up to look at the access panel underneath the aircraft. That's a nice figure, isn't it? I like the way that they've got the pose, you know, with the legs split. One leg straight, one leg bent sort of thing. They've done that very well. Then we've got this chap very upstanding with his hands on hips. Looks like he's surveying the scene. And then over here we've got the chap with the screwdriver in his hand, and you've got the jerry cans. And he's the one, I think he's the one that's squatting down, isn't he? Here. And you've got the jerry can itself there. And then over here, there's the chap, rather a posh looking chap with the walking cane. See his walking cane? Yes, he's quite a very upstanding sort of bloke, isn't he? And there's two different faces there. Let's see if we can get that in. That's remarkable. Just something unusual, isn't it? A walking cane. So, you don't get that modelled very often. And here's the chap who is I think he's the officer that's got the flight jacket on. You can tell by his one that's got the one bent arm here. Left hand on the sort of hip. And then over here you've got all their faces. And the hat. A couple of pistols, one in holster. Sorry, in fact they're both in holsters, aren't they? Yeah. And then over here you've got the one that seems to have the mission orders, and there's like a satchel case. And again a couple of holstered pistols. Got his legs there. And he has actually got, if you look very carefully, he's actually got a cigarette in his hand. Can you see this? Cigarette in the hand, see it? And there's the torso. There. Nice, aren't they? Really good figures. Now I don't think these are, I'm not sure if these are new tool. I'm not sure if they are. I don't think so. I don't think there's anything new tool in the kit, if I'm completely honest, this particular one. But what a smashing selection of figures there. All doing different things. I love the dog. I like the plate, that he's sort of giving the dog some scraps from the plate, you know. I quite like the golden retriever that's shot. I'm not sure if they're a big popular dog in Germany at that time. Perhaps more of an Alsatian might be. Kind of looks a bit more Alsatianish to me. If I'm quite honest, the dog looks different on one side than the other. Perhaps it's not just my eyes, I don't know. As I say, I'm not an expert on dogs. More of a cat person, really. Right, so that's that. So those are very, very nice figures, and they really animate it so well, especially with the dog. Things like little extras like that, the things that make them really good, isn't it? Then we've got our Hankel. But before we go to the Hankel, let's have a look at the descriptions about it. I think there's going to be quite a lot here. Now, I haven't seen this kit before, even though it's not new till, so that'll be a new experience for me. Excuse me. I've only seen the Paravane version. What we've got though is some smashing decals. Look at these. Check these out. Nice. Yep, you've got all your squadron insignias here. You've got quite a few stencils over at this end. Plenty of those, including all the instrument stencils as well here. That's quite good. Yeah. That's a nice set, that. There's absolutely minimal carrier film on these decals. Very nice. There's sort of a satiny finish to them, which I think is quite nice. So it means you can go sort of matter or slightly glossier if you wish to, for whatever reason. It gives you options. That's very nice indeed. So we'll get rid of those for a second. And I shall read you what we have here on our He111 info sheet. I can just get the old zoom to come back for me. There we are. It says here, at the beginning of the 30s, how's that? Put some more light on as well. At the beginning of the 1930s, it was appeared in the world. It literally reads it. Well, it was appeared in the world an idea of high-speed bomber that could outstrip contemporary fighters. Yeah, but not for long. Yeah. One of the objections of this conception became the twin-engined He111. Objectification, sorry. One of the objectifications of this concept, I should say, was the He111 from the German Heinkel Flugzeug AG company. Since the November 1939, the He111 H3 planes were produced with liquid-cooled Jumo 211D1 engines of increased power and more powerful armament. In the early 1940s, they produced 504 of these bombers. They took part in all the 1940 and 1941 operations, i.e. the Battle of France, the Battle of Britain, and then Operation Barbarossa in the Soviet Union. So, typical technical specs: length 16.3 metres, a span of 22.5 metres, quite wide wings. Start weight 13.3 tonnes. It's not that heavy, is it, for a bomber? Sounds light to me though. 2 Jumo engines with 1200 horsepower each. Maximum ceiling of maximum speed 430 kilometres an hour. It's about 275, 280 miles an hour, isn't it? Just under 300 miles an hour. And maximum ceiling 8,000 metres, which is, well, that's not bad, is it? That's 24,000 feet, isn't it? Yeah, it's very good. Maximum range 2,000 kilometres. It's quite a long range. Armament: one double 20mm MG/FF cannon. 4 to 7.92mm MG15 machine guns, bomb load up to 2 tonnes. Wow. Okay, there we go. Right, so let's zoom you in and I'll get cracking with this then. See what you think of this Heinkel 111. Those of you that haven't seen it, like me, are probably going to enjoy this. So, here we go. So it's not particularly contrast, is it? Not the best printing I've ever seen in terms of a bit faint, a bit narrow. Anyway, that's just the sprue map. Looks like you're going to use everything. So this is obviously different than the H3. And then we start with what's going to be our bomb bays. In actual fact, you start building the 2 bomb bays, and you've got your central spar with a bulkhead in the middle, and then you've got another the 2 bomb bays fit either side of that. I'm saying bomb bays, is it the nacelles for the engines? I'm worried. I think it's the nacelles for the engines. I think I'm wrong. Yeah, they're actually engine nacelles, aren't they? I take that back. So it's actually the engine nacelles. You build 2 engine nacelles. It's the underside of them where the gear retracts. And then you're going to build up your 2 spars here to act as the 2 bulkheads with like a walkway between. Over here we've got... a little bit more for this. Over here we've then got the rear internal fuselage structure with the walkway and another bulkhead further back, and then you've got your upper gun ring for the gun turret going in here, and we are then building in the cockpit, starting to build the cockpit, the actual control the pedals and the control yoke going in, and you're going to build in your floor and then your seat for the pilot. It's almost mosquito-like in the way that the pilot's seat is arranged. So the pilot's seat goes in like so onto the floor, then it gets strapped to the bulkhead like so. And we've then got a couple of rails. What are these for? These are the rails that go underneath and operate the actual pedals for the rudders. Then you're going to build up your tail wheel. It's strange how it jumps around a bit, isn't it? Then we've got some windows going in halfway down the fuselage here. And then we have got our magazine racks for all our machine guns going in here. And again, more windows there on the starboard fuselage. Got your machine gun going in for the upper turret, I think it is there. Is it the upper turret? Oh, no, it's the side gun, beg your pardon. Side, because of course they have windows down the side with gun ports poking out of them. Putting that in, then putting in your tail wheel, and you're going to repeat all this process on the opposite side. Same thing again. Put it in your windows and gun ports, etc. Ammunition racks going in there, and then finally you're going to bring in your spar and sort of cockpit central fuselage area and attach that to the fuselage side. First with the starboard, and then with your port side. And then we've got the navigator's seat coming in. Navigator stroke bomb aimer. I think he actually doubles, doesn't he, in these? Did it say what the crew was? It didn't say that, did it? It didn't tell you the crew. Was it crew? Was it 5? I always get this wrong. Is it 5 or 7? I think it's 5. And the He111. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it's 5. Yeah. You got a rudder coming in here. Rudder going onto your tail. You got your actuator arm for your rudders, control arm. Then we're going to look at the finally we get to the bomb bays. Bomb bays going in underneath. You've got your top coving, as it were, for the fuselage cowling along combing. Combing is the word I'm looking for. The combing that goes in around where the top gun, the gun turret. It's not really a turret. It's more of a gun emplacement, isn't it? Gun rail, shall we call it. And then you've got your bombs, and there's loads of bombs in this. So you've got all these bomb racks. This looks really cool, I've got to say. All the bomb racks are going to go in here, and they drop vertically at 111. They don't drop out horizontal like the Allied bombers. Which, if you think about it, it kind of makes sense if you've got the room. And the bombs were not that huge. I think they only went up to £1,000, didn't they? Was it £500? It might be less. Anyway, the racks go either side, and then it's like a magazine of bombs, really. Then it gets inserted here, which you put in from the underneath. Then you're going to bring in your top wings, drop them down onto the fillets there, over the spars, and then you've got your horizontal stabiliser and your elevators going on at the back. Ultimately being fitted here, and then you've got your 2 UMO engines to build up, complete with their coolant jackets at the front, and you've got some hydraulic pipes. That's quite a good detail, isn't it? Actually, that's pretty good. Although the UMO is only in 3 parts, I noticed. But anyway, and then you've got your support arms, that basically the bearers, I should say, the engine bearers. And then you've got more structure behind the bearers, reinforcing them. You've got coolant pipes coming in here on both sides, and then you're ultimately going to install those engines into the nacelles like so. And you've also got a control panel going into the cockpit there at the same time. Yeah, it jumps around a little bit. Then you've got the sort of forward cowling side cowlings going in here around those nacelles for the engines. Got your radiator grills going in underneath. Then you've got your elevators on the wing coming in, and we've got the flaps for the air intake flaps for the radiators underneath the engines, and then you're going to put the side cowlings sections on there. And then, you've turned it upside down now, you're then bringing in your lower wing and attaching them, plus your ailerons on the wings. And then we start to get onto the proper cowling. So it's the lower cowlings for the engine nacelles here. And then there's the the front shroud ring that's going on the front of the engine to protect it right on the nacelles there. Then you've got your final cowlings going in, top cowling on the engine and the side cowlings here, complete with the exhaust pipes as well. Exhaust pipes are under a cover on these, of course. Same again on the other side. You've also got you're building up your glass house here with your machine gun at the front and the nose. Bit of a greenhouse, of course, in these. So you're going to need probably going to need a mask set, I think. I just mentioned as well, I did speak to ICM about this issue, about masks. And they were saying, oh yes, but we've got, this is Valerie I spoke to, of course. And she said, oh, it's not a problem because you've got the mask templates. And I said, well, I haven't personally got experience yet. I said, but I know a couple of people who've tried them and find that the dimensions are not 100% spot on. And if you follow the mask dimensions, sometimes they're a little bit too big. And you have to start trimming them. And she said, oh no, nobody's told us that. So maybe that's not the case anymore, because there hasn't been a lot of complaints about it. Perhaps it's just one kit or a production run where perhaps they got the dimensions wrong. So I wouldn't give up on them just yet, but the only reservation I've got, of course, is flicking forward here a couple of pages, because I know what's going to come next. When it shows you those masks, I've got a feeling there's going to be a lot of them. Where is it? Does it even mention it? Okay, it doesn't actually mention it in this one, does it not at all? Oh dear. Looks like I was right on the money with this, wasn't I, bringing it up? Okay, so in this one there is no mask template anyway. So you are kind of going to need to do something about that. Anyway, zoom you back in. We'll talk about that later. So you basically need an Ed1 mask set or similar, So, there's a lot of glass would be my point on this aircraft. And then you've got your front machine gun going in the nose here. And you've got your rearward facing machine gun that goes in underneath, yeah. So that's got to go in there as well. Then we've got all these other bits of glass. You can see what I'm talking about, can't you? Look at all the glass here, where you really need a mask set to be able to mask that effectively. And you've got two variants there, a slightly different nose style in terms of the machine gun. One's got a machine gun, I think one's got like a pitot head on it. And then you've got machine guns going in here for the gondola gun. You've got a front and a rear gondola gun underneath here. Then you've got your undercarriage being built up here with your gear and all your gear retraction legs. They're going to go in here. You've got your door there for the because it's a retracting tail wheel on these to reduce drag. And then you've got your propeller and your spinners going in, and you've got your main gear and your support legs finishing it off there, with just a couple of the retraction actuation arms going on here, and then finally your gear doors and your bomb bay doors as well, of course, in the middle. You've got your top top deck gun point. What you want to call it really, gun ring, I think it's probably the best way to describe it, with the aerodynamic fairing. There's quite a lot of sort of where they're firing backwards, they've just got fairings. It's to avoid having a full turret, which you can understand because it's heavy, isn't it? This isn't very aerodynamic though, I don't think. You get a lot of drag doing it this way, but anyway, that's the way they did it. And then you get your propellers and your spinners going on, and finally you have your Heinkel 111 done. So then we have got our strange that this is in black and white, isn't it? In black and white we've got our decals, and we have got the call outs for all the stencils here, and then you've got your various versions. So we've got France, August 1940, the Battle of Britain. This one here, which looks pretty cool, I've got to say, a proper Battle of Britain Heinkel, look at that. You've also got Spring 1940 in France here, so that's just before the Battle of Britain starts in fact. Battle of France. And then over the page we've got Norway, Norwegian option, that's cool. And then finally in Russia, Soviet Union, we've got one that's got red spinners this time. So you've got 4 different options. Well, that's pretty cool, isn't it? I like it, I like it. The only thing that they might get marked down for is that there is no stencils or even a template to make stencils, which is a bit of a problem. It's a problem on this aircraft, that's, yeah. And that's what I'm saying about it not being a new tool, because nowadays the latest ICM kits always have a stencil template, so you can make your own from tamiya tape or whatever, you know. Anywho, that's what we've got there. So if you bear with me one moment while I just pop that back in its rightful place. Have a look at the plastic. I'm quite looking forward to this. A Battle of Britain, He111. What's not to like? You know? I noticed that the one that's on the artwork on the cover is obviously the Soviet Union, because it's got the red spinners on the colours, which as we just saw, that was that variant. And this is all very well packed in here. If I can get it back this way. Okay, and it was, yeah, it's quite clever the way they did that. Put the clear parts face down. Well, I never look at those first. Sometimes they can cause problems. Not usually with ICM though, I must stress. Some manufacturers it's to be an Achilles heel. Let's have a look. Crinkle, crinkle. There we go. Wow, no, they're really nice, and they're really nice. Well up to the ICM standard, I'd say, even though it's not a new tool. It's not an old kit. I think it's only about 3 years, 4 years old anyway. So it's still, I think, in the last 10 years, isn't it, for sure. Let's have a looky. So you can see exactly what I was just talking about, though, can't you? Yeah, look at the glass house effect here. Beautiful clear parts, though. Much better than most manufacturers. I mean, that's. There is a little bit. I'm saying that there is a little bit of distortion. I've just noticed. Just on this part in particular here. I wonder if the camera will pick this up. Can you see that? Yeah, there's a bit of distortion going on. It's not bad. I don't think it'll be too distracting when it's a built model, but just notice it. Mainly on those. Yeah, I definitely think that's not quite up to their current standard and things like the Marauder, which has just got some of the best clear parts you'll ever see. Just a little bit distorted on these sections here, especially that one and that bottom one. As I say, I'm not too sure if it really comes up, but I can sort of prove that to you. Whether it's, can you see it? It's a bit, yeah, it just distorts. If you're turning it, it distorts quite a bit. Yeah. So it's not the finest ever, but it's still, that's not necessarily an insult, because they are so good at these clear parts, especially now. They seem to be up there with the very, very best. And it's not badly distorted. It's not as bad as that. Famously, I criticised last year the Mini Art Thunderbolt, because that was, the bubble canopy was, yeah, very distorted, I thought. Not an easy thing to mould. I shouldn't be too harsh on them, but that was noticeably poor compared to things like, you know, Tamiya or even Airfix. But these guys in ICM in Ukraine are really strong on clear parts. So there's just that one part, and I'm looking at it now and I'm thinking I'm being a bit harsh, because it's only when you get it with certain things behind it you really notice it. It's just a little bit not quite as good. These are lovely, these front nose pieces, they seem absolutely fine. Again, there is a tiny bit of distortion, perhaps, yeah. One of them's worse than the other, but they're very, very good. They're very, very good. And look at this. This is the top gun gondola ring area, where it's the backward shooting one. And then you've got this part of the front glass house on the underside, I think it is. Yes, there's quite a lot of clear parts, aren't there? And there's definitely some masking set going to be needed for all those windows, I can assure you. I wouldn't, to be honest, attempt doing that without a masking set. But those are nice clear parts. I think that they're not quite up to the very, very high standards that they have now, but they're still pretty high. They're still better than most. I mean, you know, that's better than what you get 10-15 years ago for sure. A very nice clear parts set. 9 out of 10 of the clear parts, I think. Right, so that's that one. I'll put that aside and then we'll get into this. So, it's a big beast, isn't it? Right, here we go. You're going to need a bit of room for this in your cabinet, folks, when you build it, because it's not small kit, is it? Quite a decent size. So here we go, and we've got some lovely panel lines here, I've got to say. Check this out. Now then, what do you think? That's nice, isn't it? Look at that, it's got the aerials underneath already moulded in. Ooh, I hope they don't get knocked off. Yeah, I think I might have preferred those to be separate, really. Okay, yeah, they seem okay. Don't think they've been bashed yet. And you get your underside gondola there. Then you've got these areas where you've got all of these windows coming in. Yeah, there's a lot of windows. Then you've got your front section. And then you've got all these lower parts of the fuselage. There's your area where the bomb racks are. Not a very big bomb rack area, is it? You know, considering it's a big plane, it seems to have a pitiful amount of bombs, really. What does it carry? Was it 5 on each side? Was it 10 bombs? That's a lot, is it? Not exactly a Lancaster, is it? I think even a Wellington was carrying more than that. Anyway, yes, you got all your radio sets from the interior. Fuselage, you've got the fillets here. Obviously these are fillets on the wing. And then other side, just so you can see it, opposite side, your tail. Yeah, that's really nice. It's a nice kit. This got a nice, lovely, nice ICM finish. They have this sort of a satiny finish. Very, very nice. And then this is your nacelles for the engines. One there, one there. Very nice sprue. That, nothing wrong with that at all. I like the way that they have added this. This is a piece of sprue here, just to strengthen that part rather than have it as a separate one. That's fair enough. That's that one. Then, smaller sprue. We've got all our undercarriage legs, etc., and piping on the sprue. And there's some really nice details here. Look at this. So we've got some lovely corrugated trunking. And then you've got, I think, probably only 2 of these I've got a feeling. Is there? Maybe this is the internal. I thought it was the engine, but it's not. I think it's the internal structure in the nose. Yeah, okay, because there's this sprue in the middle, that's what's thrown me. So it's the internal structure that goes around, the framework that goes around the inside of the nose. And this bit in the middle where my finger is, that's actually sprue. So you're going to cut that off. You're going to have to be very careful. Aren't the parts beautiful? Aren't they fine? Look at that. Some very nice stuff here. Absolutely exquisite, really. And then over on this side, yes, all those little pipes and some fine stuff. You're going to be very on your A game when you're cutting these off the sprue, aren't you? You have to be very, very careful. That's very good. Okay, that's that one. Then we have big sprue. Come back a bit for this one. Big old sprue here. We have got, this is the one that's got all the big spars in it. One spar at the front, one spar at the back. A bit of flash just coming off there, just on the sprue. Let's take that away. There you go. And then you've got all the cowlings here. And they are very nicely done. Beautifully formed. Yeah, there's no flash on any of the major parts at all, that was just the internal piece there. Very, very nice. Your tail wheel there. And you've got your gun emplacement on the top. And you've got your bomb bay rack doors. That's the other part of the tail wheel, complete with the assembly. Nice. Yeah, I like it, Next one, and there's 2 of these, so we'll just do one of them. Big sprue, so this has got a propeller on it. It's got your, actually the Yumo engines look really nice. They're better than, instructions sort of sold it short, I thought. It made it look a bit simpleton and a bit basic, but it's fairly detailed, that, fairly sharp. Look at that. Nothing wrong there, is there? There's the cylinder heads. Look at that, that's cool. And then we've got our engine bearers here. Various actuation arms for the undercarriage. Bombs, not very big are they actually, no. That's why they're carrying 10 of them, I suppose. You got your wheels and tyres. Look down here, you've got your spinner. You got engine parts, looks like it's the sort of turbocharger, supercharger for the engine. See that? Supercharger with pipe. And then we've got our undercarriage leg support, the main arm, raises and retracts it, and lowers and retracts it, I should say. Exhausts over here, bombs and exhausts. Plenty of bombs. Then we've got our guns, machine guns, 7.62, and then finally we've got all the drums of ammunition. It's nice, isn't it? Very nice. Okay, it does say there's 2 of those, so we'll ignore the second one, absolute unification. And then, last but not least, not quite last actually, penultimate I should say, we have got the lower, I think this is the lower wing. Nice, very nice. Look at this. Let's have a really good look at this in terms of its surface details. Got some nice panel lining and riveting detail here. It's too close. There we go. Very, very nice. You've got your horizontal stabilisers. Again, lovely panel line riveting detail here. Fantastic. Super. I said it was the lower wing. It's actually lower and upper. So it's literally is one side, isn't it? One whole side there. So here's the upper wing. Complete with all your lovely panel lines and your access hatches. Just zooming a bit too much, I think. There we go. Better. Yes, there we are. Isn't that nice? So some lovely, very fine detail. All the panels, all the little access hatches. Quite a few of them here. And then you've got your opposite side, underside of your horizontal stabiliser, and your rudder, of course, on the tail. That's one side, that's the other side in the middle there. And then finally, last but not least, the other side. So this time we've got the ailerons and ailerons, is that flaps and ailerons? Flaps and ailerons, yeah. Flaps and ailerons. There's your ailerons at the end, those are the flaps down the inside. Oh, they can't be, can they? That must be the rudder. Is it? 2 different types of rudder, is that right? Yeah, I think there are 2 variants of the rudder, aren't there? One's deeper than the other, that's what makes me a bit confused. Or are they just elevators? No, it's elevators. It's the way they've done it. So they look bigger, so it makes it look like a different variant. It's not, it's just that they have an insert, look, you see? They have an insert, so that's one side. And the smaller one over here is the bit that's inserted ultimately into it. Just a bit confusing the way that they've gone about it. But it probably works because it avoids a seam. And then again you've got this lovely detail with all that, and that's so it's just one aileron, long ailerons. Don't think it's got flaps as such, has it? There we have it. All in all, really quite an impressive kit. It's very subtly done, it's not overly complicated. It's kind of got a sensible part count really, hasn't it, for being honest. Yeah, I was a bit underwhelmed by the instructions, but then that's often the case with these slightly older, old school kits, you could say. ICM's older ones, yeah, it's not, their older kits, it's not their strong point, is it really? But there's some very, very nice parts there, and I don't see anything that really upsets or alarms me at all there. It's really very well done, to be fair to them. Perhaps better than you might expect, actually. So, did I have a clear part? Yes, I did. There they are. They go there, don't they? Let me see if I can just, if you'll just indulge me, if I get back in the pack. Let's see if that can be done, shall we? Peel it back. It can be done if I do it the right way. Only if I do it the right way, like that. Won't be difficult. So what did you think of that? Some of you will have built this kit. I know it's been around a little while now. Not that many people will be like me, having not seen it before, I suppose. But I'm very impressed with it. I had the Paravane version, which, yeah, it was a bit quirky and a bit weird, really, honestly. Not as a kit, but as a subject. And that sort of... it wasn't really my sort of cup of tea as a subject. But it was beautifully done. I was very impressed with the kit. I'm having trouble here. It doesn't want to go in, does it? I'm sure there's no reason it won't. It's just being... So I was packed very tightly going in here. There we go, it's doing it here. Hold on. I know what will happen now. Everybody's going to be complaining about the noise, saying, God, that's so crinkly and loud and horrible. There we are. Oh, you ripped the bag of it. Look, isn't it? Never easy to get these things in. Anyway, there we go. Let's see. Crinkle, crinkle. So, what do we think? Well, the only disappointment there, really, for me, the only disappointment, literally, is the lack of any masks, to be honest. I don't think I can mark them down for the clear parts. They were really good, actually. I'm being very picky, I am, when I'm saying about the distortion. It's there, but I'm not sure. Certain angles I couldn't see it. It's only when you really moved it around a lot, and I'm not sure when it's actually built. It's quite dark inside the cockpit. You won't notice it. Things you see when you're looking through something, depending on what it is and the, you know, what's behind it, I don't think that's going to be particularly bad. And it seemed better on the nose section where, you know, that had less distortion. So I think it's fine. So the only disappointment was the lack of any kind of mask stencils. You're going to have to buy a mask set. Now, you know, Airfix and Revell, they don't give you masks either. But ICM normally do. So this is obviously just a reprint of it's their instructions that's at fault, you can argue, rather than anything else. But at the end of the day, anything that's got, it's like we talked about the Betty and the Sally bombers, anything that's got that much clear parts with so many windows, you know, and that's got about 60, 70 windows, hasn't it? And was it the Sally had 130 of them? Incredible. Anything that's got that much glass, you don't want to be doing that yourself anyway, to be honest. So my recommendation is just go and buy a mask set, and that's it. So I'm going to give it 9.5 out of 10, which is actually higher than I expected to. I thought it was going to be a 9. And you've got to remember, it's got all these other things. I think 9.5. It's got some beautiful stuff in there for 55, 60 pounds. You know, wow, you get a lot of kit in there. What did I say, 720 odd parts. Fantastic kit for that price. You know, mid-50s in price in the UK. I don't think you can go wrong with it. So I think 9.5 out of 10 is a very fair score. Thanks to ICM for providing the kit. I haven't given it any extra points because it didn't cost me anything. Nothing to do with that. I'm always going to be objective, like I pointed out. Things like, you know, lack of stencil data in the instructions. It's lost a little bit of a mark for that, but still a great score. Still a great score, and it's great that they keep doing this combination of kits. It works, you know. That's a perfect combination of sets. That was almost, they were destined to come together. Those different kits. So you've got figures kit, and you've got the whole airfield kit, and you've got the little tog, and it's fantastic. Well done, ICM. 9.5 out of 10. Hope you'll give me a thumbs up, a like. 10 out of 10. Thanks very much for watching. Hope you thought it was interesting and enjoyed it. Yeah, I didn't go into every part. With some of these, where we've done one quite recently, we had done the airfield set of equipment very recently. So I'll put that over here for you to look at. You'll see that in detail, so you can see everything. Then you'll have seen the entire set that you see before you. I just didn't want this one to be too long, that's all. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Hope you'll join me again soon, and in the meantime, please look after yourselves. Thanks a lot. Stay well, stay safe, and hope to see you again very soon. Thanks a lot, and bye for now.